Let's go ahead and kick it
Yeah.
old school. Wait, no, not kick it old school, not new school.
No,
No, let's do it.
we're pretty old.
We're pretty.
It's how we do. I mean, it was like we even pushed it back 15 minutes, and we were still. Excuse me, we were still late.
Still
It's
late.
great.
Yeah, I because that's how we do it, man. I mean, if we're gonna be on time, what's the point? Gracefully late is the new. I don't know what I'm saying. How are you, sir? How are we doing?
Good. I'm hanging in there.
I'm trying to
It's
keep
been a
pace.
week. I feel like the last couple of weeks we've been starting the show off. It's been a week.
Well, last week I was having a whole bunch of technical problems. That was the reason why.
Yeah.
It's if there was a problem or if anything that could go wrong, it typically happens right before you start. But this week I'll say this: the family, at least on our end, is feeling better. We're getting
That's
back
good.
into somewhat of a normal routine. I was talking, I was letting Juan know before the show that my wife and I went out for a walk a little bit, while my son was swimming, and so we're getting back into normal kind of shenanigans, I would say. But you know what? It's Thursday. It's great. We're here. We're hanging out with some of our friends. We have Barry Johnson in the chat. We have David Burns as usual,
Hey,
sir. And
Rolando.
Rolando, My Tech Reviews, and let the show begin. I like that. He's kicking us off.
Yeah. Their guy's like, come on,
Yeah,
let's go.
absolutely.
Nudge, nudge,
I mean,
shove.
push. Weird eye. No. Welcome back to the best of our week. This week it's a little bit different. We're both Juan and I pushed out a few shorts, actually more shorts than I typically would have pushed out on my channel this week. I was hoping for a video to go live, but I think that video is going to be pushed out for another week since I don't have an approval yet for that. It's the same video I was working on last week when we
I
talked.
burned a whole day just trying to rejigger the lighting and the wiring on my bookcase,
You
and
did a
it's
good
kind of
job.
going okay. We'll
Dude,
see.
it looked great. So the lens that you shared,
Yeah.
that was actually pretty decent.
Let,
I know you don't have the.
I'll turn around here. We can keep talking because I'm
Yeah, yeah,
wireless,
yeah.
so I can
Oh yeah,
still
no,
hear you and stuff. But
the power of wireless. So if you guys for the audio listeners, if you follow Juan over on the Patreon, he pushed out a little short kind of video on lights, dude. I see you're doing the blue. I love the blue color. I dig it. I've been doing green a little bit more, but blue and green is really really cool.
oh, you like green?
You know what
We can
they
do
say
green.
green is more a little bit more cool, just chill. You know what I mean? Like that kind of
You know what?
Thursday afternoon.
I gotta
Thursday.
say, like my favorite. I can't really pull it off for clothes, but pink. The
Oh,
pink
that's
looks really
pink.
sharp because it kind of throws a wider highlight.
But
I
so on
really
my end,
dig
dude,
the
it
pink.
has more of a purplish tone.
So, but I mean, like
It's
if we
casting.
go
Yeah,
darker
yeah,
purple, it starts to look more blue.
yeah, yeah,
So we
yeah.
go pink, and there's just a little bit of the blue in there, but
That
it also
the
seems
cube
to
behind
brighten.
you, the one cube behind your top left shoulder, right there. I'm assuming that's your left shoulder. Is very pink. Well, because I don't know the orientation from where we are. So from where you are, I think pink. It looks really Now the center
Yellow.
cube is not changing colors as everything else, but it looks still really nice. Yeah, I like it. I like it.
This is good. So I'm
I dig
kind of
it.
getting back into it. It was. I still have to go back, and you can kind of see like right over my hat
Uh
the cabling is actually like starting to fall from behind the bookshelf. I've got to retape the whole thing again.
The whole thing looked
Um,
great till Juan turned his head. Yep, that's how the show
um,
starts.
it's so bad. But yeah, so I lost a whole day on this, but I think it'll be worth it. So I've got 3 videos shot.
Nice.
Tomorrow I'm gonna have the Kyocera out. I'm finally gonna have a video out on your Fold 3,
Mm-hmm.
and it was nice, like because I went yellow to highlight a Poco video.
Yellow and black, yellow and black.
So
I love it. Yeah. But,
you
actually,
know,
black and
it's
yellow. Black and yellow. What am I talking
black and
about?
yellow, black and yellow,
Black and
black
yellow,
and
black
yellow.
and yellow.
So yeah, it worked out. It worked out really well. I'm gonna go ahead and turn these off though because I'm already like roasting in this office, and they don't
You're
add
not
much
gonna.
heat. But
I was gonna say they're LEDs, aren't they, or are they actual lights?
yeah,
Bulbs.
it's just a lot. There's a lot of power going on on
I'm
the
with you, man.
bookshelf.
I'm with you.
So
When we have our show,
I don't need
I have
to.
one ring light above us, and that's the only light. I try to keep it. We bring the heat by ourselves. We don't need equipment to add the heat.
Well,
That's if
it's
there's
just
a way
so
to say it.
frustrating because like IKEA doesn't really make anything to do accent lighting on their own shelves.
That
And
is,
so they've got like these like white LED kits, but it's like 3 lights, and then they need to plug into these like breakout boxes, and you
and
have
it's
to figure
proprietary
out
plug and setup and app
and
and all of that.
and
Yeah, yeah.
and like the cable isn't going to reach 5 shelves across. What, are you
That
crazy? So you've got to come up with your own ridiculous
solution.
custom cabling solution, and it does. It's like the back of this looks way worse than any PC I've ever built, and I am not
It's
good at the cable management.
Oh, I'm very, very bad at cable management. I mean, seriously bad. One of these days when I have you over at the office over here, on top of the fact being cramped, you're going to see the bad wiring that I have behind me because I moved the PC from under my desk to the top. I've always had my PC be underneath my
It's
desk.
like the Homer Simpson with the extra skin. It's like it looks good from one precise angle,
Like that, yeah, and
but
then it
don't look
falls apart.
behind. Yeah, exactly.
It's one of those. It's
What
one
do
of
you
those
want about
shows. We've been watching a lot of Homer Simpson. The Simpsons here is runs on rerun all day long. Someone has had to come over to IKEA lighting design. It's
I
very
looked.
interesting.
I've been searching. So this is the third move I've had with these bookshelves, and
So,
like
well,
I have
how
not
about
found anyone that. I mean,
so?
so the one thing I found was like this intense like engineering project where
Okay,
they're drilling holes through, and then they're kind of mounting, and then there's like a
so
miter,
you're
and then
looking specifically for one light to be the top, like right, there's just a top
you.
down light that you okay. Because for me, if I was approaching what you were doing, what I would probably do is like maybe a Hue light bulb, not a Hue light bulb, but a Hue RGB string that can go all across, and I would run it kind of like S shape down all the
So
way, and
I've
then
gone through 3 different lighting ideas. The
okay,
original lighting idea were those fairy Christmas lights that were
yeah, yeah.
wires
I
that,
think
that
you
you
had those
could
before.
bend and you could kind of float. So that was Gadget Lab 2, and that's the one that we started hanging out in.
Yeah,
And so
yeah, yeah.
those went
The good old
horizontally
days.
in and out of every individual cubby shelf.
Yeah.
That worked well, but it didn't work great if I wanted to use one of the cubbies as a mini set for the phone. So,
Exactly.
like, especially on this one over here, you can kind of see the little green, just little
A little bit of that
green.
green mug.
So, that green mug, that's one of my favorites to shoot in. It's got my Buddha and it's got my YouTube plaque.
Oh, I thought that was
But
your megapixel
it's
mug.
it's well, that's my megapixel mug, and then I prop the phone up on that, and it
Ah,
becomes like
oh
a
yeah, yeah, yeah,
nice,
yeah. I remember
clean
that one.
space to do close-ups in.
I like that.
Those little Christmas tree lights don't work for that. So then I took those Christmas tree lights and I routed them in a way so that each cube was backlit. But then it creates an intense shadow into the back third of the cube.
Okay.
So it doesn't illuminate anything inside the cube. So light strips don't really help. So I went to single dome lights, but the cables and let me just point this out. I don't think I have them out here right now, because I had a spare. The thing that really pisses me off about a lot of these undershelf lights is that they almost always have a nice flat cable, and
Yeah.
one side of the cable is plain, is just like totally white or totally black, and the
Yeah.
other side of the cable often has like a detailed pattern. So of
Okay.
course, the side that has a detailed pattern is the side that you would see if you stuck it to the
To
bottom of a
the
shelf.
yeah.
Instead of it just being white, instead of it just being a white cable, they've got the pattern on the side that sticks down. So now I'm also looking at just getting some white gaff tape and
Just to
just
cover it up.
running like trenches so that I can like cover the little bit of a cable that runs to the back of the cubby. I mean, like there is no like off the shelf solution for any of this, and I wish I had just a little bit more depth on each piece of the shelving, because then I could do something like staples. These
Oh, that's
shelves,
right. Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
shelf walls are not thick enough for me to properly get those like hammered plastic retention clips or a
clips.
good staple clip. It would just shred the back of the shelf wall
It's
because
compound
it's cheap
wood, yeah.
particle
Because
board.
yeah, I was gonna say yeah, it's a particle board. Most IKEA, if you've ever bought IKEA furniture, you know the quality of the non-wood wood that they use.
Oh
in
yeah.
their-
Oh, it's good times.
My first desk. Oh no, that wasn't an IKEA. It was actually an Office Max or an Office. an Office Depot desk. That was what it was. And now I have obviously articulating and stuff like that. But yeah, no. If as Mobile Opinions was saying, when IKEA opens up their own lighting solution
I just
store,
gave IKEA.
we just need to thank Juan, some lighting
a
guy.
multi-$1,000 idea right there.
Hashtag custom wearing.
Wiring.
Yeah, like a Fjorgen and Jurgen. What was the one in Deadpool? Oh my God! Now I need to remember.
I can't even remember, and if I even try to guess, it's just going to be horrifically insulting to anyone in north of
Go
Europe.
ahead and build your. Oh my. Okay, I'm really really bad, guys. I need your help in the chat. Anybody watch Deadpool? What was the name of the IKEA furniture that he was helping build with Margaret? Oh my God! Graduate degree in the fall. It was.
Oh, Sam's gonna be a Best Boy or Dolly grip. That's awesome.
In fact, we're going to take some less. Okay. What's a Best Boy? Okay, I know what Dolly Grip is. Essentially, it's the controllers, right, for the dollies for movie sets. Am I reading it right? Yeah, but what is a Best?
And grips often work with like the lighting and electrical teams too.
Okay. There were actually by my I had to go to the office today. Actually, go into the office, and they're shooting a movie up in Pasadena down the street from where I was, and I was like, interesting. So they blocked off the whole road, so they're still doing some shoots, and there was some also here by Santa Clarita where we are, and it's nice. I'm seeing movies and shoots and stuff. I want to say it's a Jurgen. Oh my God, a Fjorgen. Okay, I need to Google this because this is killing me now. Deadpool, IKEA, and it's going to be something on the top.
The whole show just grinds to a halt.
Deadpool, funny scenes, Reynolds. Oh, come on. What is the name of it? Oh, a Coolen. It's a Coolen.
Okay.
It's a Coolen. Go get your Coolen. Anyways, yes. Okay, so we're gonna start the show now. Welcome back, everybody, to the show. We've gone through
thank
a couple
you for
of,
allowing me to just take that quick detour and show off my ridiculous engineering project.
Lighting absolutely is one of the hardest things to figure out what to do, especially when you have. And every office is different. Like I said, the way your studio is right now is a little bit different than when it was in Gadget Lab 2.0. Your distance to the background was much greater then because you actually had a desk. If you guys remember when we used to do the live stream with over at Juan's office or at the lab, we used to have a desk in front of the actual backdrop. So things are obviously very different here. It's closer. It's a little bit more personal. So yeah, lighting solutions are always going to be a challenge. For me, it is an RGB strip, but I use light bulbs. Like basically just I let them reflect against the wall. So it bounces in the background and it creates the hue. So you never have to see anything specific. And the monitors, obviously, they'll just keep the Dragon Ball and the stuff kind of going there. And I have a little bit of right there. Okay, I'm just bad with remembering things today. The triangles that light up.
Oh yeah, those
Luma
panel
cubes.
lights.
Not Luma
no,
cubes.
Luma Cube is the on-camera lighting.
Yeah, the on-camera thing. Nano leaves. Okay, I'm back. I'm not totally lost.
So I was looking at nano leaves and the way that you can kind of mount and arrange them, and the solution that I've got in the bookshelf right now, the entire bookshelf, including extension cabling and additional gaff tape, and what I'm gonna be doing for hiding the trenches, is about half the price of like a starter nano leaf set.
That's the problem with Nanoleaf. The only reason why I never got into it.
I really wanted to go, and especially on the big blank white wall, I really wanted to do something that could have kind of like an accent light on there. And instead, I think I'm just going to go with like just tchotchkes and shelves up on the wall and maybe a poster or something. But just as a quick look, this is what the sort of rear angle. So if I'm shooting in that direction, I can kind of share this here real quick. I like how this is looking. So TV becomes like an accent behind me. I can change up the color on the lights. You get that little hint of the poster, and then I might start doing some ambient lighting, because just again, color changing lights that aren't necessarily data connected or nano leaf style. If I just get something behind that TV, then I can throw light as an accent to that entire rear wall.
Yeah. Well,
And
so
and I think
here's the
that
thing.
would be cool to
You
go
could
like
try to
bookshelf
do,
lighting in one color and then
yeah.
rear wall color in another.
Or what I was going to say is maybe some audio, uh, something that responds to audio. Now you don't have to go with Nanoleaf. There are other brands on the market, like Amazon is
Yeah.
filled with those, and some of them
Hmm.
offer audio, like kind of like a visual EQ that you can set up
Yeah.
behind the TV, and then as you're talking in your video, it pulsates to your sound, creating different ambient. I mean, again, with a smile like that, I mean, you could go with anything.
Oh, you.
The check is in the mail, right? Now, it's one
So
of those
yeah, but
all
Steve DeRoche literally glowing rectangles. That's like
exactly.
all my life has become in every facet. Ah.
Oh my
So
god, my god! You've
Greg
been
is saying to use strip lights on the back of the TV, and that's exactly what I'm talking about.
that's
Something
what I have
simple
behind my
there.
monitors. Yeah.
That's easy because I don't even have to worry about how power is going to get routed. Like that's
Oh
cake.
yeah. Nobody sees that. Yeah.
I there is no solution for in and out of big bookshelf cubes like what I have behind me. This is I'm three moves into trying to figure out how to light these ridiculous shelves, and
The
now
only thing I
I'm
would have
just getting
probably
to
said,
something.
what about, and me just throwing this out, what about like even if it was a nano leaf, but let's say it was a nano leaf, because I know your bookshelf's obviously squares, but if you put a
Hmm.
triangle, wouldn't that be able to give you enough of a light? Like if you put the backdrop of it, like the back of it with a nano leaf and let the light, because it permeates sideways as well, it lights up
Hmm.
everything from the back, but it becomes more of a, oh man, what was the name of that old show with the, anyways, what I'm trying to say is you could just do I don't know why I'm trying to pull history today. I'm bad at this.
Words are hard under the best of
They're
situations.
no, but it's like I can't. I remember things, but I don't remember like the Kulin. Who does not remember the Kulin from Deadpool?
Well,
Like,
I
come on,
obviously didn't
it's not.
either. It just wasn't
It's
as
like
mission critical a memory for
what I
me.
was trying to say is if the reason why I mention it is the nanoleaves, because they're triangles. If you center them in the center of the back, it does create a strong enough of a light to be
Hmm.
firing at you from the back, so it gives you that lighting effect. But unfortunately, it doesn't fix your shadow issue
So,
because it's
so
still dropping a shadow on anything that you put in front of
well,
it.
it's still dropping a shot, and then also backlighting.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it
again,
is.
like the sound wave right above me, right, just to the I guess stage left of my hat. I've got a problem where the bookshelf is also practical storage. Like I actually use it to keep and hold things, but then I also try to arrange it so that it's a broken. You're breaking up the visual behind me, and the out of
Mhm.
focus bits look interesting. And if it's too backlit, then it's even more difficult to kind of see like what it starts to look
It
muddy,
become
and it's
yeah, yeah, no, I know. It becomes more about the light than what's on the shelf, and you're right. It absolutely. Your solution works, and I think we need to just put a pin in that one. So here you are. Here's a pin. We put it in. We're done. No, no, I'm. It's like going to turn it into. Welcome back to the best of our week, where we talk lighting and audio and video equipment. Today we're going to be
I
doing. No,
mean, at
just
some
kidding.
point that just might be our whole show, and that's fine.
Well, I mean,
Home
Gabriela is
improvement
actually
tips with
jumping
TK
into
and
it.
Juan.
We're talking one big continuous light source or separate lighting
So,
solutions per
so,
cube,
so, you know,
or are we
I
talking
just got to break
RGB?
this down. TK, made another ridiculous trip to Home Depot, spent hundreds of dollars on gear. Let's talk about the kitchen shelving, what we're going to be doing with our cabinets, and I mean, it's silly. Like, it's this entire snowball of we
One
wanted to
thing
start
leads
with
to
just
the
a
other.
magnetic knife block, and before we knew it, we were getting granite countertops. Like it's insane and
That's
it's
how they get you,
hilarious.
man. That's how they get you. You go in for the magnet. See, for me, it was a new faucet for the sink, and then we walk out with
Well,
the
this
oh my
faucet's
god,
not going to work unless I also get this backsplash. And if I get this
yeah.
backsplash, it's going to
Yeah.
conflict with my cabinets. But then my
You need
cabinets,
a double basin. And are we going to go stainless steel or are we just going to go the No, I know it gets very. It can
it's
be very
intense.
expensive, and it's a different
Yeah.
show. But we'll have that on the best of our home working week. This week's been
Home
actually
makeover edition.
home makeover. Yes, welcome by. Move that bus. No, that's Ty Pennington.
Nerd. I love it.
Oh my god. No, when we were in Vegas during CES, for some reason, whenever I got a chance to watch TV, he was on TV the whole time. There was commercials for Vegas slots and stuff like that, and he's there, and he uses the "move that bus," and then I was like, "Oh my god!" It just stuck in my mind. So Ty, for everything that you've done, every piece of, you never renovated my house, but yeah, for sure. Oh, and Sam just redid their kitchen for about 15K. That's not that bad. That's not bad actually.
That's not
pretty
terrible.
decent. Yeah. I like this. Greg's like, TK, let's talk about your banana bread. Unfortunately, we are out of banana bread. We've gone through a second loaf of banana bread, and we're doing great. I think we're gonna take a break.
Actually, Chris Lopez has a great transition since we've been talking about kitchen remodels here.
Sorry, I didn't mean to take
what
away.
do you guys think of the OnePlus 10 Pro stovetop? And I really feel like the acrylic that they're going for, because it's a ceramic piece on there. I think that was a bold choice. Again, I feel like there's something to be said for some other type of material. Maybe you could shake that up with granite. I know, granite isn't actually as popular right now. Now we're talking about other rare earth minerals, but
I know. We chose not to go with granite either. Thank Ty Pennington, my idol. I love that one, Steve. You got me, man.
But we were kind of talking offline. We keep clicking on the same comments and then
I forget we're both managers.
Shutting them down
happens.
and bringing them up.
Chris
so
is like,
talking about like some of the experiences we've seen, people are starting to dig into the more regional flavor of the OnePlus 10 Pro.
They're importing
what are your sort of thoughts at arm's length? Because I've got some strong thoughts on phones in general that also line up with the OnePlus 10 Pro.
So for me, okay, so I'll start off by saying I have a phone that is a regional phone that isn't going to be released in the international market, and I do like it and I appreciate it. But I'll say that at the beginning. But okay, so for anybody that's trying to bring in a regional phone, especially a phone like the OnePlus 10 Pro, and with the current version of the 10 Pro being what essentially it is, it's a Chinese version running Color OS. It's not running Oxygen OS, so there's no Oxygen OS. It's Oxygen OS flavor into it. Whatever you review, whatever your experience is going to be reflecting of a phone that is sold in that market. That is essentially how it's going to operate in the Chinese market. Not that it would be hard for you to install Google Play services or something like that. It was more about, for anybody looking at that, by the time they get that phone, when the OnePlus 10 Pro comes out internationally, their experience is going to be different. They're not going to, it's not going to be the same camera app exactly. It's not going to be the same operating system. You're going to see very different, like some of the features in Color OS do not transition over. The floating window, the three fingers gesture translation functionality, the color theme engine that they bring in over to Color OS, none of that transitions over. So it's a little bit of a hard experience. Like, bringing it over to show it, I guess it's cool, but I think you need to be very much putting massive disclaimers saying, just be understanding that this is me showing you the hardware. The software is going to change different, and it may be a different experience by the time you see it. And so I'm a little bit, I'm not going to lie. I did contemplate the idea myself to pick up a OnePlus 10
importing
Pro.
it. Yeah, I was thinking too. I was like, I don't know.
But then I was like, no, I wouldn't be doing it much. I mean, what can I do on it now that hasn't been already published? Unboxing and so on. And it's not like I can just flash an international ROM on it because that's not out yet either. So you have to kind of wait. And I'm sure the people that are importing are waiting like, well, don't worry about it. When the international one, I'll just flash it on and it'll be fine. Radio support, that will be the other thing that you want to be aware. It doesn't support the same radios as the one that's going to come to the international market. So 5G is not going to be as much if you obviously care. But for content, some people are obviously, more willing, and I'll say, I hope it works.
Cool.
Yeah, but I'll wait. I'll wait for the region that is global. If it was a global edition, I wouldn't have any problem bringing it in. Yeah.
I've really been digging the OnePlus 9 and 9 Pro on
especially after
Color
the last
OS.
few updates. Yeah.
I mean, some of these, the most recent quick patch. So I didn't have terrible experiences with the big update. I just had a lot of those little gremlin-y kinds of teething pains. So
Yeah, yeah.
then they re-released the update and then sent out a little patch for those of us that had already updated, and then there was one additional patch after that.
I
And
was
with
gonna
the
say, yeah, there was two
exception,
after.
I'm still like Dave Burns. I don't know if he's still in the chat. He was complaining his Android Auto is still a little flaky, and for me, its live caption does not work. There's no way to give it permission to overlay on your screen. It doesn't show up as an app that you can give it permission, and literally everything else has been better. The camera
Okay.
app is way faster, is way more responsive. There is no more of this Samsung style shutter lag or background post processing that changes the image. And I keep kind of bouncing back and forth where, well, to kind of sort of go along Sam and Barry, I'm totally with you guys. The design is fine. I think the design looks good. I've never understood this like OnePlus and that looks like garbage. And you're like, where does that come from? It looks like a phone. Like at this point, what do you want a phone to look like that is somehow not going to look like a phone but will still look like a phone? I think it looks great, but I'm a little concerned. I really like the camera pairing on the OnePlus 9s. The good big main sensor and then that wonderfully large ultra wide
Oh yeah,
camera
48.
sensor. And knowing that the OnePlus 10 is going to go up in size on the main camera, that's pretty cool. I like that. But that it's going to use a smaller sensor for the ultra wide has me really anxious, because that to me was one of the critical differentiators on the OnePlus 9s. The OnePlus 9 has an ultra wide sensor that's larger than the main camera sensor
Samsung.
on an iPhone 13 Pro Max. Like, that's a good piece of camera hardware, and anyone who couldn't figure out how to get phenomenal images out of that is miserable at photography. Like, you're literally the worst. You should never pick up a camera ever again in your entire professional career or in your personal life.
That's what I was
Just
gonna
let
say,
it go.
personal.
Let
Yeah,
other people take the photos for you. You have to be that bad. I'm just being cute.
man.
No, I'm anxious about that. I really don't want to lose that as a perk. And to get what? The OnePlus 9 screen was already great. The power management features are much improved on Android 12.
Yep, color
I'm going to
roasted, a
lose
lot of
out
good
on
improvement.
a better GPU, but the OnePlus 9 Pro was no slouch as a gaming machine. I'm not sure how I'm anxious. The OnePlus 10 has me anxious about what hardware bits we're trading from the 8 Pro to the 9 Pro to the 10. I'm not sure that phone gets better. It's just going to be different, and I worry that it's going to be different in ways that I don't like as much, if that makes sense.
No, no, I'm with you. It's always an interesting approach because it's an iterative upgrade. By the way, I mean it's not like a massive update between 9 Pro and 10 Pro, but
I mean,
the
no phone
choice and
is
change.
going for massive
No,
upgrade.
no, and I don't think any phone realistically year over year will ever be this massive like there was a few years where we could I think we could put our finger on like basically the 8 Pro was a big jump from the 7 Pro. I'll say that much, like, performance wise on the camera, and the 9 Pro kept going up in that performance. What I worry when we start seeing hardware design and changes like this, it's my hope is that it was done after testing and performance, not just changing it for the sake of changing it. It's still, I mean, obviously it begs to see obviously how the application, how the camera app is going to perform, the Hasselblad tuning that we're going to see here with Oxygen OS as opposed to Color OS, being that Color OS on Oppo, which with the leaks on the Oppo Find X5 are looking like Hasselblad's coming over there as well. So
Yeah.
it's I'm a little bit, like I said, this is why I worry when somebody reviews a phone for the international market without disclaiming the fact that this is not an international phone. This phone will not be released like this anywhere outside of China. And I think that's the biggest thing. It's more about, like, I think I saw Unbox Therapy, and I think it was mostly, I don't know if it was done originally just to showcase their cases for the latter case or the later case. But the reality, again, nobody can buy the. I mean, nobody's going to buy these cases now. Nobody's buying this phone. If you want to import a OnePlus 10 Pro, if you really want to get it, obviously it's available. You can pay the premium to bring it in.
Yeah,
Personally, I'd recommend anybody thinking about it,
just
just
wait.
pull, yeah, hold yourself. Trust me when I say it's going to be a better version for when it comes out to the international market. Better modem
Yeah,
support, better performance, and the tuning of everything that it is.
and
It's consistent with OnePlus International.
I'm willing to kind of to put my bias out on display right now,
Mm-hmm.
where I really felt the OnePlus 9 was a better phone than the Galaxy S21,
Mm-hmm.
and I really felt the OnePlus 9 Pro was a demonstrably better phone than the Galaxy S21 Plus. You know, the
Mm-hmm.
OnePlus 9 Pro eked into a middle ground between the S21 Plus and the S21 Ultra. You
Yeah.
had to go up to the Ultra to get the better Samsung than what a OnePlus could deliver. I'm increasingly of the mind that opposite a Pixel 6
Mm-hmm.
and a OnePlus 10, that
Okay.
the Galaxy S22 is in the shakiest situation
Yeah.
right now. Knowing what we know about their potential camera sensors and the reduction in RAM
I
and
don't understand that whole configuration for Europe, releasing a lower
yeah,
RAM configuration of an Ultra, and then keep the price the same. Which that I don't understand. It's like, what was the
I don't
purpose of
get it.
release? Yeah, like what do you benefit from releasing a lower RAM configuration? It just doesn't make sense. Um, and it already is, like, honestly, like it's a Note. It's really a Note. It's not an S series, and
Yeah.
and it,
Whoa,
yeah.
Samsung killed the Note, TK. Whoa, I can
They
write that a dozen headlines on that. I'm gonna get
That's
so
what
much
every
Samsung
that's what
traffic. It's
that's what
amazing.
everybody's doing right now. They're playing this game with the is the Note dead? I'm
No, we
like,
did this. Didn't we
I
do this
know, I
last
know.
week? It was like
No,
I'm gonna call this the Note 22. That's
it is.
I'm
It's the
just.
Note
It's not
22.
even where they're gonna say.
Or you know what? If we want to be fair to Samsung, I'll say this. Let's just say this. It's the
Let's be
Notes.
fair.
No. It's the Notes. Add the S to it. It's a Note with an S at the end. It's
Notes
the Notes
22.
22 because there's 22 of them. So it's the Notes 22. And I mean, it just and they made, obviously, we know the announcement, obviously, that the Unpacked event is going to be on the 9th, I think. And
I guess.
surprise, surprise, all of that will be, there. I'm sure Freestyle is going to be on the show everywhere. Look, at the end of the day, Samsung will do what Samsung likes to do, and I'm really more excited to see what the Find X5 Pro does. I want to see how the OnePlus 10 Pro performs.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the Xiaomi Mi 11, the Mi 12 to come out. The Xiaomi 12 series to come out. Those are the devices I'm actually more excited about because I feel like they're the ones that are not getting as much, attention in the forefront. A lot of people talk more like, Samsung's great for SEO and so on. But in reality, who is buying the S22 Ultra? Very few people are going to buy the S22 Ultra. If the prices are right, that device, it's $1,300. I mean, really.
I'm hoping, and I mean this in earnest. I really do mean this. I was the diehard Samsung Knight on old Notes, and then I shifted over to Galaxy Actives, and then Samsung completely walked away from me. They've not
Yeah.
made a phone for me, and the closest they've gotten in years is the S10e. I'm kind of desperate for a couple of my family and friends, and I feel there are a number of consumers out there that I hope Samsung will see some sales on this version of the S22 Ultra Note
Hmm.
edition. Because I think about those people that are still rocking Note 9s, that are still rocking Note 10s,
Hmm.
maybe, looking at some kind of potential upgrade path from a Note 20. Although if you have a Note 20, I'd just keep it. It's probably a better phone than what's going to be coming out next. But still, there's a backlog of users on those kinds of devices. My uncle's on an S9. He
Hmm.
is not going to get an S22. He has zero interest in that phone. So if those people are left out in the lurch, they haven't really been voting with their wallets because they've been out of the game for so long. So I'm hoping that we see this S22 Ultra do some decent sales to show Samsung, hey, productivity features matter. A demographic device that's purpose built matters, and maybe we can get them to come back to some of these. I mean, they're niche devices, but they were the king of their niche, and
Well,
the Notes significantly outsold. Up until the Z Flip, significantly outsold every single idea of a folding phone that Samsung's ever tried to put out. They've never made up the deficit of Note sales with Z Fold, the
no,
entire
no.
run of all three Z Folds.
But okay, well, let's look at it also from my point of view, because I'm looking at it from, and I'm with you on the some of the reasons why you see or you hear me at least frustrated or concerned, or the way I speak on the Samsung conversations or what's coming up from Samsung is because I was a big fan of Samsung products for the longest time. I still use their products. My monitors on back there are Samsungs, both of them now, which because my old Xiaomi broke. But there are certain things that I find that Samsung, the Note 4, the classic. I still have my Note 4, by the way. Mine doesn't work. I need to get a new battery, but I still have my Note 4. I feel like Samsung's approach of merging the Note and the S, although may please or may bring back the Note fans that did not get a Note 21 last year. I think they're going to alienate their S series fans. And the reason I
Oh,
say this, I what
completely agree.
so
Yeah.
I've been a fan of Notes, and I've had Notes in my life ever since the Note 2. I never jumped on the first one, Note 2, 3, 4, and then of course the 7 and all of that. Oh, and then my Note 7, the FE mod, not the FE, the standard one, the one with the battery problem. I was looking at it last week. The battery swelled up and the
Yeah.
back popped off. I was like,
Yep.
the phone, oh like crap. Okay, so I'm trying to
Oh,
cut the
Old Samsungs are scary.
yeah,
I've now got two, the S6 and my S6 Active. My Note 5 battery is shot, and now I'm getting real nervous about some of like the S7 era phones.
yeah, yeah.
Samsung's made spicy pillow incendiary devices back
And they
then.
and they balloon up very like a very hard
And
balloon bag.
And let me tell
So
you, for all the fears over boot looping, all my LGs from that era still going strong. I can fire up my V10 right now on that ridiculously bad 808, and it's ready to go.
oh man, I
It's
missed the
good
era.
times.
It is. No, but so what happened for me though is I've always purchased the Notes and I've always enjoyed using them, but I found that I didn't. There's a couple things about them. A, I didn't use the S Pen enough for me to justify the Note, but it was always the design. It was literally a rectangle. It was the glowing the definition of what a glowing rectangle phone is. It's the sharper edges, and I always felt like whenever I was holding it, it digs into my arm. So I I always tended to basically I'll get the Note, but then as soon as the S series comes out, I transition over and I stick with the S series a little bit longer. So for me, jumping in from an S21 Ultra to go to the S22 Ultra as a person, I don't feel like I'm upgrading to the next S series. I'm upgrading to something else.
Yeah,
Like I feel like now the S series from 2021, this is the turn where we're gonna miss out. This is
yes,
where I feel like the S21
completely
Ultra
agree.
may need to carry another year, and
Because
then
there used to be a big nice phone that was an S series that had all the
yeah,
best tech that Samsung had to offer, and then
yeah,
there was a big Note phone that you would often have to compromise a little battery capacity to get that stylus silo.
yeah,
There was always a division, but you could count on a premium top of the line. This is all the bells and whistles for someone who doesn't need the S Pen, and a
exactly.
premium top of the line for someone who does want the S Pen. And now you don't get that. The
No, now they
Galaxy
combine them,
S,
and
I'm completely predicting that Galaxy S sales are going to continue on their downward trend because the Ultra looks like the perfect solution for someone who's on a dying older Note.
yeah,
They're going to get it, they're going to dig it, and I really hope that phone does well for that community of people who want a
but an
stylus
S
enabled productivity device. There is
exactly
no non-stylus S series that also has the higher resolution, higher refresh rate display, that
large
also has
capacity, 45-watt charging, all of that. Yeah,
all the bigger battery, the
hmm
bigger camera sensors. Now that doesn't exist. And so yet again, Samsung is kind of cannibalizing different demographics to make these artificial divisions that they don't need to do. And I don't understand this strategy, and I don't understand how since the S20 we've been kind of generally fine with still considering Samsung to be at the top of their game when
Yeah.
we've seen, especially after the S21 launch, Samsung internal is in panic mode over how poorly these premium phones are selling. I don't know if you saw it. There was another press release that went out about like these one of these houses, the companies that does all of like the market research and stuff. The
Hmm.
entire global smartphone market is up like 4% year over year. So many more phones, 4% more phones were sold in 2021 than in 2020. And again, even more phones were sold in 2020 over 2019, even accounting for a global pandemic. And while Samsung has
I
never
think the
sold
pandemic
more
contributed a
phones,
little bit. Yeah, I think the
well, it's
pandemic did. Yeah,
interesting to see like these market
yeah.
forces at play. But while Samsung sales are up, their Galaxy S sales are way down. And
Year
it's
over
like there
year.
is no market confidence in this strategy, and Samsung executives are not getting it done.
No, and they're not seeing and they're not understanding that they've literally outpriced their product out of people's range. The S series is so expensive. If the S21 started at $1,000, the base model, the one that doesn't even stack up to the Ultra, is starting at 1,000. And then you go obviously up, and then they're playing now the memory game with the storage configuration, and they're also
Yeah.
doing this. So for me, I feel like either they just don't understand it, or they just feel like, we just can't be messed with because we're so up there. The reality is, it's making people like myself appreciate more what an Xperia One Mark III can actually perform and give
Hmm.
me at a much more, actually, now that we think about it, I think this is actually cheaper. If you
Yeah.
think about it, it's cheaper than what the predicted price of the S21 Ultra, S22 Ultra is going to be. And it has expandable storage, and it has a DAC supported headphone jack, a 4K display at 120
Hmm.
hertz, baby. You can't even do 4K at 120. But anyways, what I was trying to say is, this is one of the reasons why I'm not as excited about this launch. Like, I was almost tempted basically, I was more excited for upgrading my wife's phone than it is to upgrade my phone, because
Hmm.
she has the Note 20 Ultra. And but then I kind of, like, the whole thing in my mind, I was like, but so she's going to lose MagStripe, which I don't think she cares too much about, but it's that SD card. It's
Yeah.
her content that we carried here. We typically put her libraries on and all.
And that
So I don't
865
know.
Plus is so good.
It's still she has 5G, she has
It's
all the
so
connectivity she
good.
wants. So I'm a little bit torn of the, do I, like, I don't know.
I'm increasingly of the mind that I think people should kind of leave. Well, I should leave alone, unless their phone is like non-repairable or they
Oh,
can't.
absolutely. It has to be based on necessity to upgrade year over year because something happened. But typically, most people go 2 to 3 years with their phone. So you're right.
Hmm.
The people that are going to be jumping on this are probably going to be Note 9, Note 10 users, people that have had the Note for some time and now they want to be able to get a next version. But the S series fans are going to be like, what about me? What about me, the guy that likes the S series? I'm jumping, let's say, from an S10 or an S20. Now I have no choice. When is the S series coming?
Imagine someone who was just in a comfortable 2-year cycle coming from an S20.
Yeah.
I mean,
And they'll
that
be
is
like,
such a downgrade.
they'll be like this. So we have an S Pen now, which I didn't really want on an S series. That's why I like the S series. You have no more SD card support. Okay, I get that. It's an Ultra, but no SD card support. It still has the 45-watt charger, but you took it away last year, so you brought it back this year as a new feature.
Hmm.
Anyways, I don't want to make it sound like, cranky pants over here and stuff, but I just wish they would understand that their path is not going to lead them to more sales. It's going to continue
Yeah,
that
I feel
frustration that
like a
people
part of
have.
this is also locked up in their North American strategy, where so many consumers just don't believe they've got an option.
I
They're going
think
to go into the carrier
absolutely
store, and
they
they're not going
get.
to want to deal with all of those other choices that they don't know anything about. The guy at the front of the store is going to say, "Well, I guess you could get an iPhone," and then that's like it. That's the only decision making
it
process
it,
that they
it is
really
very
have.
much, it is going to be very much and I think that's really what it is. I think that's why they're so comfortable. That's why the selection and the choices that we get. But again, this is why I'm excited more about what the Xperia One Mark IV is going to provide us.
Sure.
Although I also almost want to ask, does the Japanese culture also have a concern or an issue with the number four as the Chinese cultures do? Have we ever
I don't
seen?
know.
Okay. Because reason why we don't have a Find X4 Pro is because of
Yeah.
the number four. But anyways,
Yes.
that uh, I had a whole long conversation about that one last Saturday. So yeah, I'm a little bit set back on that end with the Xperia, with not the Xperia, with the S22 Ultra, because I feel like this is, I feel like honestly, if it does live up to the hype, it would be a good upgrade for my wife. But there's also that whole solution of
I
I can't buy her a 512 gig version of it because it's going to cost me $1,500. You know what I mean?
That's a
Because we can't
lot.
put the SD card. I have a 256 gig SD card on that phone. So even if I go with the 256 model, I'm already out. I'm already
You know what?
outclassed that version.
What I would love to see, honestly. I mean, I'm going to pitch you a video idea here, and if you don't want to use it, that's fine. I would love to see your wife's reaction if you took her phone and said, "Hey, I'm going to get you a new phone," but what you really did was brand new case, brand new screen protector, double her memory card storage, and like just polish
Off
it all up for her, and then like, like,
and,
hey,
and give it
it's the
back.
phone you're already using, but it's your new phone, and
Well,
see
I
how
would
she
probably
would
also
react to that.
do a good. I probably end up thinking if I was to do it really justice, back up her apps. Do it like a
Oh,
smart
like
switch
really
backup,
clean it all out and everything
clean it
too.
up, reset the format the phone, and I think if I'm not mistaken, Android 12 should be coming up very soon for it on the One UI 4.
Oh,
Get
see,
that
that would be a good
installed,
time. Yeah,
so
because
the
that
experience would be
way,
very different. Yeah,
and you wouldn't have to worry about any update teething pains. You just start her
absolutely.
fresh.
Start
Yo,
afresh, and then
I think
only
that's a
restore
good
the apps
video,
that she
dude.
wants. So that yeah,
I think that'd be
making the
a
better
good
S22
reaction.
Ultra. Making a better S22 Ultra. This one has an SD card. What is that? It has MST. What is that? It has 5G. Really? No,
Is
I
is
know.
that is that still working though? Is Samsung Pay
I
does it
think so.
still
For her,
even?
yeah, for her still works
Okay.
the exact same way. And between you and me, it took me a little bit to get her used to it, but ever since she discovered that her Samsung works everywhere where most other phones don't, she goes and she puts the phone straight on the Max Stripes card reader,
See,
and her
because
phone works.
unfortunately, like LG Pay now, if I try and like sign in and stuff, that all got completely end of lifed. So
Yeah,
I'm
well,
sad that
yeah,
that
There,
didn't
there's,
work.
I think LG's approach was more, yeah,
No, it was more they weren't going to keep up a payment system on their phones after they tanked their phone division. So
yeah, and but I think with Samsung, I think it's more. I mean, they're continuing as long as the hardware supports it.
yeah,
But yeah, no, and it's that same note that you and I, the cover, sorry, for the cover for this video was you holding that note, the Note 20 Ultra.
yeah,
So I think honestly, I
that
feel
was a
like
good phone.
it is still, you know what? Even though we couldn't upgrade her last year, I felt like she didn't miss a beat. She still enjoys it. And like I said, storage is about the only thing. And I can literally easily offload her internal memory videos to the SD card, like the camera reel, and easily and instantly create storage for her and let the phone run faster. So she loves the camera, and she's doing her own food channel like right now on Instagram with the whole Simply Food Bay, and all of that is done on her phone. She edits. And I
Nice.
showed her how to use
No, she was
Snapcap.
doing food stuff. Hold on, Simply Food Bay. Hold on, I'm going to
Yeah,
do this right now.
it's Aditya
This
has
podcast is not sponsored by Simply Food Bay.
Food Bay.
That's not.
Watch my wife walks in. She's like, "Yes, he is." No, that whole the banana bread is because every once in a while, like if you guys want to know what I eat, you just have to watch her feed. That's because your boy is that's usually my lunch and dinner for like a day.
Oh, her food shots are phenomenal.
She is much better,
She's
way better.
adorable.
I'm telling you, man. Like
You did good, buddy. You did real
But
good.
I'm saying all of that is run off of a Note 20 Ultra.
Yeah.
It's a great phone.
Oh
Although it was
yeah.
a little bit of a hard time for me because I originally was going to get her the Note 20 and I ended up returning the Note 20 and getting the Note 20 Ultra because of that SD card. It's been literally like she really enjoys it, and she uses the S Pen a lot more than I do. That was the other reason. So this is why I was like telling her the new phone coming out looks more of an upgrade to you than for me. But I was like, I think your idea
Although,
is a much better idea. I think remaking the Note 20 Ultra into a 2022 edition, the Note 20 Ultra 2022. You know, that's not a bad idea. I'm just trying to
I
figure out
I
how
I
what
think
I can
there's a
give her to
video in
hang.
there.
Well, no, I know, but I'm saying is that would take me a good chunk of the day though, which would take the phone
Yeah.
out of her hand, and I need to figure out what to get her running on, without getting her, uninterested back going back to the S20 Note 20 Ultra. Average consumer, and I like that. No, but Aditya, most of the guys that we have in the chat here, of course, are all great. We have Choppa's in the channel, Greg is in there, Aditya can't seem to post links without mod status. Oh, that's right. I didn't add you into the mod account. So I'm sorry about it, Aditya. Yeah, Aditya is one of my favorite mods. I always love it. Hey, Tech Love and Mama's in the chat. Hey, everybody, say hi. I didn't realize she was in. And then of course, Chris Lopez and everybody hanging out with us. But yeah, we're turning the show into something other than what we started.
Yeah, we had like a
talking
whole list of topics, and you know what? We just kind of just did something else. That's great.
50 minutes into the video and haven't spoken about one thing on the title of the video. We're just bad at what we do. Speaking
So
of which,
switching
actually,
gears.
yeah, I was about to jump. You said Kyocera, right?
Well,
Kyocera?
we were
Is it
talking.
Kyocera
You
or
asked about
Kyocera?
Japanese brands, and
Oh, yeah.
I spent a little time with a made in Japan phone. These are incredibly rare these days. Or phones.
This is the.
This is the Durasport. So this
Oh,
is the
the Durasport.
Durasport 5G UW. Totally
Wait, hold on a
plain.
second. They make smartphones like that? Kyocera? Wait, I thought they only made flip phones because I have the Kyocera, the Duras,
Oh, okay.
the
So
Dura XV.
no,
That's
no,
my
no, no,
experience
no.
with Kyocera.
I'm a big I love rugged phones. I've just
Absolutely.
loved Galaxy Actives all the way back to the Galaxy Rugby, if you remember the Rugbies.
No.
And one of my all-time favorite phones was the Brigadier.
Dude. I mean,
still
I'm
have
not
your-
kidding. No, I have my Kyocera.
Oh yeah, they make rugged like flip phones and stuff like that too.
Well, yeah, I know,
But-
yeah.
But they've been making Android for a while, and so, but usually it's a bit more like corporate. You know, the sales are a little bit more focused on kind of like Tough Book.
Panasonic. Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say like Panasonic, the tough.
So
The moment you said corporate, yeah.
But I'd always wanted a follow up to the Brigadier. The Brigadier was the one that had the sapphire screen.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's still one of my all time favorite videos to put together as I'm raking concrete against the screen, and this hunk of concrete is crumbling because it's just crap concrete, and the screen is pristine. And
I
like
like
there's
that.
there's this like dirt and sand and these little rocks are like peeling off of it. And I mean like the plastic on that phone is janked, but the screen is immaculate.
I can still see, but it doesn't. Yeah.
I did some coverage on Kyocera during the original Duraforce days with Pocket now, and they've still been making phones, but I think for a while they pushed even more into sort of fleet and first responder sales instead of consumers. So this is a step towards getting back to something that it's still mostly, I feel it's still mostly designed to show up as like an option for first responders or for construction workers or something like that. But it is being sold in a retail channel through Verizon.
Yeah.
Like you can just go and buy one.
That's my experience. They've always been around Verizon as far as like a subscription service. Yeah.
It's expensive. It's
Okay.
$579, and it's packing a Snapdragon 480.
Wow. Okay.
So that's a bit much.
But you did no. But you did say UW.
Yeah, so that's just it. Is UW? We know that's going to add about $100 to any phone.
So that was about what I was
And-
gonna say. It's focusing on that. Yeah.
There aren't many phones out there that truly live up to that idea of not just IP68, but it's also MIL standard 810H. So it is built corporate.
Oh, like a
rugged,
tank. Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
not consumer tough. It's built pretty hardcore. So I the video's coming out tomorrow.
Good.
I've spent some time with it.
Little
I've
bit of
reviewed
teaser.
it. I definitely have some very critical things to say about Verizon's coverage map in my neck of the woods. My area, it's not been great. But the phone itself is just a kind of a lovely little return to a manufacturer that I loved that Brigadier. That Brigadier was such a rad little phone. This is one of those where it's like, it's a little too pricey to recommend as like a weekender, right? You've got
Hmm.
your folding phone to really show off and flex and do nice things with, but when you want to go to the beach, you pull this phone out. It's kind of too expensive to just casually recommend for that, but there are so many things that work great on a
Hmm.
little communicator that's built with a different kind of purpose in mind. So there's
No,
something I really like about that.
yeah, no, it's yeah, and I think Gabriela is also mentioning like the cat phones. That was one of the other brands that's known for specifically for making
Yeah,
those. The Tonka,
Gabaletta just
yeah, yeah, the
mentioned that
Tonka,
too.
the Tonka version of a phone.
I
Yeah, it
think
is.
I
It is.
still have. Oh yeah, I've still got my Brigadier. Of course, I still have my Brigadier. Now let's see if I can get it out of this without like
It's funny
knocking over
how
all of the old
how
phones.
Nvidia's broadcaster centers on the picture of you in the display behind you. It
It's
focuses
finding
on
my
that little
face.
portrait. It finds your face. You're like, hey, he's right there.
Yeah, I've got some
He's
Kyoceras here.
Yeah, no, I mean, so for me, I've had experience with pretty much just two, both Duraforces, both from Verizon. There's the Duraforce XV and then I want to say EX. Yeah, so I never had a chance to play with some of their other offerings as far as solutions. And they've only ever, whenever I've ever heard from Kyocera, it was mostly because my first flip phone did well, and this one, yeah, I like that back end. Look at that,
So
that nice
so
little.
this is all from me raking it against rocks. The back plastic is just gouged. The edges are all torn up, and then you get to the screen. Let me see if I can
Perfect
catch the
screen.
light.
Let me see
And it
myself in that screen.
is
Can you get me? Can you get? Can I
it
get? Can I get
is
to see myself?
perfect. I mean, just it's gorgeous even to this day. Now let me see if I can. I've got your wife's Instagram up. There's
Yeah.
you.
Oh, yeah, there, there. I am here. Hey, yeah. There's a
But
little
yeah,
bit of a delay.
I've got like a little. I don't remember what this one is because this is the one that had the old original lock. You remember
Hmm.
when rugged phones had like bolt action locks
Yeah.
on the battery?
It
So
was bolt. No, it was literally like they felt like it
so
only.
you
Exactly.
screw
Yeah, right
in.
there. Yeah, right there.
So yeah, these little
You need a
Duraforces were
screwdriver to get
great,
into
and
this battery.
they were little. I mean, they were chunky, but
Well,
they
I mean,
were
yeah,
all
but
about that like push to talk
the bolt
walkie-talkie
was
thing.
mostly because of the water resistant, right? Because it was creating that
Yeah, I mean, it
seal.
didn't
Yeah, it
really
was.
work. That
I know, but I was like, you're also able to hammer with the backing because actually there was another brand. I forgot the name of it. There was another brand that did that as well that used to provide like a very hard material on the back. And their demo for me, I think at CES one year was they literally hammered a nail onto a piece of wood
yeah,
with the back of the phone. And I'm
I
like, that's
remember
not.
that demo, and I can't even remember
I
the
know, I
company.
can't remember the name, and I was like, but it's like that's not how I like to use my phone. I like,
You know,
I'm
that's not really selling me as a feature that I need to have, but
yeah, it's like
that's
I
cool
never I
that you
never
can
ever
do
go
it.
to a store thinking, do I have my hammer and do I have my phone? No, I'm typically I'm okay. But so that's a good thing. So that's tomorrow's video. Running
Yeah, it's going out
Android
tomorrow.
11, 12?
Android
I mean
11.
11. Yeah, oh, that's pretty
So
good.
this was notable because this is also my first experience with a 480. I've
Yeah,
not gotten my hands on a 480, and this is gonna be that take
yeah,
it for granted CPU, SoC, I should say. It's going to be the take it for granted SoC where 5G isn't a fanciful additional feature. It's the thing where we can just take it for granted that any phone coming out. I've got press releases and I'm under embargo for some other phone brands that are going to be launching devices, and the big draw is this is going to be our entry level solution for 2022, and it's 5G enabled. It's all because of this 480 coming out. So that whole market in that like sub $200 range, or the I walked out of my low cost carrier with a phone for free, that's what we're going to see. We're going to see a bunch of these devices hitting the market.
well, I was about to actually ask. I thought TCL just launched the 30V, and I think Rolando was mentioning it earlier in the chat.
Oh, I haven't read up on
And
that
I
one
don't
yet.
remember what the
I
SoC on
thought
that one because
30V was going to be another like 700 series.
I want to say it may be seven. Is it 700? Or here? Sorry, hold on. I have because
No,
I
oh,
have
but
the
wait, is the 30V?
it's the
I don't.
Verizon. It's the
Oh,
third.
it's a
Yeah,
Verizon model. Okay.
specifically. It's going to be sold for 399 for 299. It's 5G enabled, nationwide. Oh, okay. It doesn't say what the snap. Hold on. Let me open up the. Sorry, it's one of those you gotta read the specs and all of that. All of that. I just want to see what the SoC is. Snapdragon, Android 11, Qualcomm. No, it is the 480. Same SoC.
Okay.
So that's why. So this is why I was kind of like it was hitting me. Yeah,
I
right there.
think I think
Rolando's
480 is going to start taking over for some of the 600 series phones.
absolutely. But they're doing it for like 299, and it has a headphone jack, and it has a finger. This is when you first held it up, I was like, that phone design looks very familiar. So yeah, MediaTek just released it. OTG 5.1, Android 11, triple camera stack, 4500 milliampere battery, LCD panel.
This
It's
does have a
actually
rear fingerprint sensor. I do like it.
that no no yeah, and I think both they have a lot of similarities, which is surprising. I wonder, yeah. So but to Rolando's comment, I think, yeah, and it is 5G. I think what's it called? He mentioned it earlier in the chat, and I didn't get a chance to catch it, so that's why. But thank you, Rolando, for throwing that in. So that's also another offering. We saw it less than even 2-3 weeks ago at CES, with that phone. So that was one of the two. The other version, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be coming up to T-Mobile at some point, T-Mobile and Metro, from what they said.
Yeah.
So that, but they did also come back also, and of course elaborate, saying that they're going to be working TCL with all carriers by the end of 2022. So it's not necessarily just that they're only working with T-Mobile and AT and Verizon and not working with AT&T. It's just at the time they just weren't ready to share anything other than those two
Yeah.
models. But
I
again,
think TCL is going to have a pretty strong year this year. I think
I hope
their
so. I hope so.
options kind of playing more to the mid range are going to suit
The
them
the
well.
30 series, from what I saw, or what at least I was able to see in one of the teasers, is a lot bigger than just the two phones that we have already, and the year is barely starting. So it's
Yeah.
nice to see that they're focusing on a range of devices, not just, two or three. It's literally like, I want to say at least 6 to 7 variants, but that was a global thing. So I don't know exactly which ones will go to what market, but hey, early 2022, they're already having a phone that's already out for $300, supports the XE was and that one supports the Dimensity as well. Yeah, so that was the other one. So it's slightly different, but a good experience. So yeah, this would be a good one. DTS saying we need to do some kind of gaming test and see what type of performance you're expected to see on a 480. So it's going to have to be something that you have to also kind of keep in mind with performance, like on the Redmi Note 11 that I got. It's a 680 processor. Still mid-range. It's not, it's not going to be, but no
the weaker
5G.
GPU.
It's a weaker GPU, and you could definitely sense some of the, like the system. Just I think MIUI 13 on Android 11 here may need a little bit more horsepower, a little bit, or maybe more RAM. That was the other thing. This one runs with only 6 gigs of RAM with 64 gigs. The model that they sent me is
I get that, but again, I don't believe, if we're talking about gaming performance,
yeah.
I don't buy that RAM is the issue.
No, I don't
What
think it's the
game?
RAM. It's more about multitasking and the way the operating system
Sure,
runs.
sure.
That was my concern.
But
It wasn't the RAM. It's how
but
much things are
when
sitting in system.
but when we're, I mean, because I'm specifically talking about gaming performance here, and I've seen a couple other people talk about, like, well, you need 10 gigs of RAM for gaming, blah blah blah.
No.
And I don't know of any game that's using, in addition to like what your system uses, I don't know any game that's really pulling 3 gigs plus of RAM. And what you should want your phone to do is shove everything it can into the background and shut it down, so
And
that the
that's what
phone is performing to its best
In most gaming
for the game.
in
Like
most gaming
I'm
modes, that's what it does.
unless I'm gaming on like a Duo where I'm also watching a
Watching
movie at the
Netflix.
same time as I'm playing the game. I can't believe that that's the issue. Oh, I miss my Duo so much.
Sorry. Fingerprint. That was my only thing, dude. I'm sorry. I will clean it up. I promise before I
Oh
give
no,
it
it's
back.
fine.
It'll
I
be
mean, we know.
TK
we're aware.
smudge it. No, it's the same. It's the same with the Find N. It's Fingerprint Central. I can't find cases for either one of them.
I don't know about you, but I've got this great case on the Fold 3. I'm not bothered. There are no fingerprint smudges or anything to deal with there. So
I should
There
have
you
taken you
go.
up on the offer of sending me the case for the
I've got it
Duo.
in this
I
sad
was like,
little shipping box over here on the side.
he got the case literally like the few days after I took the phone, and I was like, yeah,
So
because
I knew it would happen
that's
too.
how it because that's how it is, right? I mean, Murphy's law, right? When things can go wrong, things will go wrong.
So let me put you on the spot. Let's say you had to really push into more budget territory, sub $300
Yeah.
for whatever region, and like $300, you probably still want some change. Someone who's into playing games, what would you recommend?
For sub $300, and we're talking about reasonable experience gaming realistically, I would not sway going in from the 11 Pro version of this. Like the Redmi 11 Note
Hmm.
11 Pro is about 279. The N200 for OnePlus is also a kind of a pretty decent offering there in the 600 series processors. I think the reality of the matter is you have to kind of tailor your expectation to where you're with whichever device you're going with. So when I say gaming, I'm obviously talking about I would say acceptable gaming experience, 60 frames per second most experiences, but not necessarily the highest quality. Most of them, although offering a 1080p resolution display, do not have the processor strong enough to push 1080p content on that display at the high refresh rate. So you also have to keep in mind the GPU CPU combination. The RAM configuration always kind of worries me. It's mostly because of the old Samsung TouchWiz approach of things, where you had so much stuff sitting in RAM that you just had nothing. There was almost barely any room to run everything else. And I think this is what's happening for me right now on the Note 11, the standard Note 11. It works great for what I needed, but if I jump in the camera and I want to start playing around with the camera for a little bit, the phone starts to stutter a little bit.
Yeah.
Gaming on this, again, it has a 90 hertz refresh rate, but it's I feel like I'm still not able to push 90 hertz out of a game. But like Asphalt 9, PUBG will play decent experience there. Call of Duty should be pretty decent, not the highest resolution. But yeah, I think the N200, the Note 11 Pro or the Note 11 Pro 5G, if you want to jump into 5G connectivity, the Redmi Note, obviously, I'm talking about. And then you can also see a lot of like the 11T or the 11 Lite, even from Xiaomi.
Yeah.
Those were decent. What else was going on? I want to say the N10 maybe, or not the N10, the N.
No, actually, I
It depend. I
probably.
wouldn't be
So,
surprised if
but
the
but
N10
the
could do something. Yeah.
N10, the N10 does kick you down to what is it? The 690?
Six.
Was
I
that
want to say
the
the
Snapdragon that
630.
was
Yeah,
in
it would
there?
have been the 690 or the six. Oh, the
I'm
upgraded
pretty sure
version
it
was
was
the 690.
690. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm kind of
Okay.
leaning more like if you can get a decent sale on like a Poco,
Poco. Oh man,
because
yeah.
the
The Pocos
prices
are also
drop
good.
on those pretty aggressively. I think somewhere in that territory, especially one of the videos I'm wrapping up is revisiting the F3, and again, full retail. I want to say that phone's like 400, but it's not too hard shopping that on a decent sale. So if you can't get into like sort of lower territory on a 2019 phone,
Hmm.
like you can get a really great sale on a 2019 premium tier, maybe a used phone,
Oh yeah,
then
it
that
is the
could be
690. You're right. Yeah, the N10 was a
that could
690.
be kind of the gig. But increasingly I'm kind of looking at those options. You still have to step, I mean, like at that price, we're not talking about cheap devices. Still, once we're
Or yeah.
talking up to a $300 limit, that
Hmm.
is a lot of money for someone to just hand over for a single purchase. Again, we're sort of, North Americans. I'm American. And so a lot of people walk into their carrier store and they aren't handing over $300 to walk out with their super nice, fancy, brand new phone. At least acknowledging that if you're buying it completely outright, I completely acknowledge that
I'm trying to.
that's
How much did the Pixel 5a go for, or the 4a even? Because I was thinking maybe the 4a
they
may still
were
be a
they
good
were in the
option.
450 territory. They were not cheap. I mean, they
The
weren't expensive, but
3a. Well, okay, so the
3A was
3a.
399.
Yes, but the 4A came down to 350. Remember the 4A? The 4A they dropped down the price on the 4A,
Or
and
did
then the
we have that backwards? Did the 3A launch at 350 and then the 4A
it
go
was
up?
actually that was the biggest. I remember because it was I was very surprised that Google would ever drop the price on a phone that was a successor to the year before. So the 4A launch, yeah, the 4A launched at 350. But the 5A is the one that went up again. I think that's where it went. The 5A
Well, the
jumped
4A
back.
5G was.
Oh, the 450.
Oh, so no, you're right. You're right.
The
Because the
4. Yeah, I'm
5G,
talking.
the 5G added $100 to the 4A, and that phone was like 450.
Yeah, and the 5A, because it released with the 5G, released at the same price as the 4A 5G. So we don't have the
Okay.
smaller 5A like we had last year. So I'm thinking more like a Pixel 4A. A Pixel 4A you could probably get a decent experience with, and
Not
if I'm
bad.
not mistaken, yeah,
Again, it was
269 right now, brand new.
Snapdragon 710. Was that what was in it? 720.
Hold on, I want to
Because I
say
don't think it was the 765. Because I think that was held over for the 5G radio.
absolutely, absolutely, yeah. So that one, my friend was running the 730G, which was still,
730.
yeah.
That's
See, that's
good.
in the 7 series. I feel like
Yeah,
so if you have to kind of recommend something, I feel like that would be a good solution. The 4A from
that's not bad.
2021 absolutely should still be good, and it's below 300. Started at 350, but now you could definitely get it for less. For 270, I think I was able to see it.
Now that I say that, I wonder what used pricing? I doubt there are many on Swappa. Used
I
pricing
wouldn't
on
be
a Black
surprised.
Shark.
Oh, yeah, no, it'd be hard on Swappa because Black Shark is US. Yeah, so
Yeah,
you can
there's
technically
no
actually
results for
buy
a Black Shark.
the 4A brand new from Google still. They still have it. They didn't take it
Let me
away.
see on eBay. Because I
Oh,
bet
I'm
you the
sure.
Black Shark pricing is ridiculous just because they're not as popular here.
Welcome back to the Shopping Network here on the best of our week. Today we're shopping for
Yeah,
Black Shark smartphones. Pricing doesn't look so
I
good.
don't know how I'd feel about like five. So they're going for between 500 and 600.
It's because we haven't seen the new Black Shark yet. I think, and you're looking at last year's, which is one that's carrying. The thing with Pixels, though, is again we did not have a successor officially to the 4A because that was not an option this year.
Right,
So the phone
but
still carries a
even
little bit.
considering that, because I'm not talking about the Black Shark Pro, I'm talking about the Black Shark
Oh,
4,
the
which had
standard
the
phone.
870, and even that's still going between four and what is it? Between five
It's probably
and
because
$600.
it's a little bit of an import for the U.S. If it's sold, if it's trying to say it's technically a little bit of an import. So not available everywhere. So
Yeah.
price could still be up there.
I was gonna say, but for gaming, if you could get a Snapdragon 870 with a headphone jack, a huge battery, and those shoulder triggers, but again, now we've raised the price tag
Yeah.
so high.
You're doing what my realtor did to me when I first started looking at houses. I tell him I wanted to get at this specific price, and my realtor always showed me things here, and I'm like, but
Yeah.
this is what I can afford. But you could look here, right? I'm like, you know what I mean? It's one of those. Sooner or later, what I'm trying to say is I think we found a good selection to look at sub 300 phones that could perform well. And I would probably, between you and me, I would probably go more with a Pixel than another phone, mostly because of the lightness of the installation of the ROM. It's not very heavily managed to the point where you have so many things sitting in memory. But this is my only thing with this is MIUI 13. This is my first experience with MIUI 13, and this is still the MIUI on Android 11. So this is the one thing to keep in mind. MIUI 12 was intended for Android 11, and Xiaomi does that sometimes when they release the new version of MIUI, but they don't release all of the new features till the next version of the Android update. So when they release Android 12 with MIUI 13, that's I think where it starts working better. But I'm having like simple problems where I can't put my live wallpapers on. It doesn't work for some reason. So, but I need to kind of also tailor my expectation. This is a $179 phone. This is super budget, super easy to get into, but headphone jack, SD card, dual SIM
so
support,
exciting,
stereo
like,
speakers, IR blaster, baby, and a 5,000 milliampere battery.
The Poco M series, the
The M's,
Infinix,
yeah.
like
Infinix, I
they're
liked. I wanted better
such
support
good
with
phones.
Infinix. Yeah. Oh no, absolutely.
We both went through those not so great moments trying to install their latest software. Was it the Note?
It
Note
was
11?
the Note. I think it was the Note 11, and it was just not.
Yeah.
It would air out every single time. I
Boy,
tried to
that was a
install it.
fun boot loop.
Yeah.
And dealing
I was
with
a
that.
scary boot loop. I would reach out. I'm like,
I
dude,
need
the
to finish
phone
this
does
review.
not want to boot.
Oh no.
Yeah. PR nightmare when you call them back like, yeah, that phone you sent me with the update is not working. And then when
Oh.
it does finish booting, it tells you that it made an error and it didn't, and you end up basically going back to where you started. It
Yeah.
was one of those weird conversations,
I
but
feel I have missed something obvious. Gaming phones under 300, if you don't mind going used,
that's true.
OnePlus 8s.
The
Swappa right now,
865.
8T, they're ballparking about 280.
Dude, no.
$280.
The AT featured the 65-watt charging. It has the fast technology for the fast charging. It has the large display, 1080p, 120 hertz, banging. This literally like all the specs that you could think of for a gaming phone
I,
are right
I'm
there.
I'm not I'm not I feel like the cameras were good. They weren't great.
They,
But if you're wanting the gaming phone, that could that could be
the
that
8T
could be
was between
legit.
the 8 and the 8 Pro, so you kind of had set your expectations there. That year, the 8 did not have the same, did not share some camera sensors with the Pro like they did with the 9. So,
Yeah.
but again, they started it off with the fast charging. It was all about speed for the 8T. And I remember the Cyberpunk edition very well. And I wish I did not return that one, but that was one. Again, I like team phones. I actually
Oops.
personally like team phones
Of
for what they
course.
stand for. And at the time, I was so into Cyberpunk. I even at like shortly after when I got my Xbox, I actually even got a skin for my Xbox to make it just look like a Cyberpunk cube, kind of
Yeah.
going on. So, anyways, long story. The AT is here, Chris Lopez. I love it. I love it.
Okay. So, if you don't
Yeah.
mind going used,
Yeah.
that's now a very reasonable ballpark. And
Hmm.
especially for how much I've been loving the 870 powered phones, going back to an 865 is like butter.
Oh my
And
God.
so
Yes.
if you don't mind going used, and again, you've got to put up with that, getting the device, if there's something wrong with it, or if they misrepresented it, or if there's a problem, you have a little less recourse for solving it. If you want to go new, I think a Redmi sounds fine. A Poco M sounds fine. I would say trying to find a sale on a Poco F would probably be
I
my
think Poco F
lowest
would
cost
probably be
gaming.
right now, obviously, and I think, and if you have to get it now, but I think seriously, an 865 powered smartphone is absolutely the way to go. Even if you are buying it used, OnePlus devices typically don't really. I mean, unless something massively is bad, nothing that a reset doesn't fix. Mostly, if it's a software issue, and nothing that you can't really tinker a little bit if
Yeah.
you're comfortable, obviously. But
I've obviously spent more time on my 8 Pro,
mhm,
but we're talking about gaming. The experience would not be radically different, and in some ways, the 8T would probably be better for gaming than the 8 Pro because you're
mhm,
hanging at that 1080p
absolutely,
resolution. The phone is
1080p.
literally working less hard.
Exactly. The GPU is focusing more on the gaming than it is to try to push pixels at 2K
Yeah.
at 120 hertz. But yeah, no, I think those are great solutions. And then I think what you can also like, kind of like I said, just understand what you're looking at. Oh, I was going to also say maybe like a Mi 11. Mi 11
Yeah.
probably, or Xiaomi 11 probably be a good decent price. Start it with an 888, and like I said, you have to kind of be flexible a little bit to look into where you're trying to find. But
Yeah, I wish I had better resources for looking up some of the international pricing because I mean, like, again, we're talking specifically about gaming. I would be willing to take a compromise on some of the camera hardware, and so does a Mi 11i
oh yeah,
represent enough of a cost savings? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's harder for us to kind of glean what is the reality of that market like right now on
hmm,
phones that launched the beginning of last year. They can't be full retail.
no, no, no,
Like
no,
no one's selling
absolutely.
those things at MSRP anymore. So I'd be curious, like where do they fit? Because like if I search for them here with my United States internet, I'm only gonna get well the MSRP was this, and like that's not a thing anymore. That can't be what the phones are selling for.
No, no, and also in some parts of the world, they still have the retail stores we're able to buy. One thing I was very intrigued with when I was in China, when I was my last time I went there with Huawei. We got a chance to walk around, and there's so many mobile phone stores on the over there that you go in there, but like Xiaomi and OnePlus and Oppo and Honor
Oh
and all that other stuff.
man.
You're able to actually go in there and haggle.
Yeah.
You can actually go in there and actually
It's
negotiate the price.
insane.
It's a different market. I love the
I
ability
mean,
of
like,
just
where were we? It wasn't Shenzhen. It might have been Taipei, where we were just kind of mess. Yeah, it was. We were going through the mall in Taipei that's near the Taipei 101, and this is for Computex. And
yeah.
we go in, and we go into the mall, and there's this Huawei store, and we go in there. And we're just kind of poking around on things. Oh, look, there's a tablet. Oh, I forget what Mate had just been launched, but I could actually hold it and play with it in the store. And one of the sales reps comes up and he starts talking to me, and I speak English. He doesn't speak English very well, but he's like trying to get me to buy the phone by talking about like how much less it's going to cost than what the card in front of the phone says it will cost. And you're like, I'm not fully understanding him, but it sounded like I would have been able to walk out at like 25% off with a tablet and with earbuds, free buds, and you're like, and a watch, and you're like, I'm just here to look around. Oh, well, okay, well, I can cut another 10% off. I'm not gonna buy anything. I just want to look around. Okay,
In his
okay,
mind,
okay.
he's like,
I'll
this
cut
guy's a
another
great negotiator.
5%.
Yeah, yeah. He's like, man, he's playing hardball, man. What's wrong with this guy? Yeah, you're breaking my heart, man. I told you I'll give you the store. You just have to buy the phone at 30% off, and I'll give you the rest of the stuff.
Why are you taking food out of my child's mouth? You horrible American, you.
No, I mean the experience is like it's a very similar experience when I was in Hong Kong with my wife as well. Mongkok in Hong Kong is very known for all of the tech and everything in there, and it is literally haggling central. It was at the time I was trying to find. It was the Samsung Omnia. It was a Windows Mobile Samsung. And it was one of the, oh my God, it was the best looking smartphone I've ever seen at the time. And I remember I was literally like so sad that I couldn't get it in the US. And I went to a whole bunch of different stores and I kept haggling, but the price was still a little bit too high. I ended up getting an Indonesian version of it later when I came back home, but it was such an experience to go from one store to the other. And it's just, yeah, I mean, so long story short, if you're in a market or in an area where you do have those type of experiences available to you, oh man, the experiences are open to everything, and you're obviously able to see the hardware, test the hardware, do everything you want before you even walk out. So yeah, I know we're going like old school, going in and talking to people face to face, kind of. Who does that?
Weird.
But that could be, yeah,
Germs.
Yeah, like yeah. Like, who are you? Social distance? Like what? No. It's I'm just. It's one of those things. I know. It's I hopefully that we've covered this enough to entertain you. But on a side, yeah.
We should wrap up. 'Cause
I was about to say
like the last
we are
10
getting
minutes,
to the last few minutes.
I didn't see a video from you on
Mañana.
these
Oh,
okay,
on the
it's coming.
no. So yeah. So
No. I was gonna say on your Redmi there, but now that you've brought that up, I also have not seen a video from you on. I've got it here on my desk. My
OnePlus
Mobvoi
Bud. I need to find my buds.
Earbuds ANC.
I didn't get a message from. I did not get a note telling me when they were going live. So I, unfortunately, talk about like backlog and so on. I'm hopefully I'll be able to push a video for them next week. It was more about like when I saw your video, I'm like, hey, I have those. I was like, I could have done a video on them.
Oh.
Why? No, so that's definitely going to be on my list for next week. And for the Redmi, I pushed out a video on that one, mostly just doing a quick unboxing. I did a reel for that, and I did that video also on comparison a little bit with Android 12 on the Xperia 5 Mark III. Still no update on my Xperia 1 Mark III, although in Europe they have it out. So some European 1 Mark IIIs are getting them already. Yeah. I'm just not comfortable loading that software yet. So yeah, so definitely the Redmi. I'm trying to put together a video for tomorrow, and I just try to push that maybe a little bit later in the afternoon, trying to get that out. But I feel like this is a good good budget phone to start if you're looking for
Yeah.
content consumption, and I would say an okay experience content creation at 1080p. I think you won't be too disappointed there. For me, it has a 50 megapixel primary shooter as opposed to where the other ones are the one, like the 11S has 108 megapixel and so on. But again, good budget phone, headphone jack, stereo speakers at the 179 with the 1080p 90 hertz refresh rate display. I mean, seriously, they're really going out of their way to make it very, very feature packed.
Very impressed with the Xiaomi parts bin.
Yeah.
Xiaomi software makes me a little squinty, but the Xiaomi hardware has been really fun. And not just they put in good hardware. It's more, I mentioned this in my Poco video that's probably going to be out next week. I really do feel like they are probably the best current today example of compartmentalizing the different brands for their different consumers. I think that's one of the reasons why they're seeing so much success, especially in Asian and European markets where Samsung has been struggling for some of these regions, is a Poco does not feel like a Redmi, does not feel like a Black Shark, does not feel like a Xiaomi. You know, you would think that there would be more overlap, but the Poco F3 has so many of the same components as the Black Shark 4. They're not similar feeling phones. There's enough division in what they're trying to accomplish that
The
I think it
flavoring
really
is done. Yeah,
helps.
I think the way they've done the separation and the design language in each series has definitely been very nice. Poco and well, I mean, Poco, Black Shark, Xiaomi don't feel as much. I mean, they feel like they're related, but not necessarily in the design. You could still have their own story to tell.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So definitely, hopefully, I'd say tomorrow for the Redmi, and of course next week for the ANC for the Mobvoi earbuds, which are actually very nice and very. Yeah. No.
I mean, I put out they're good. You should give them a spin.
Oh, I used them, but the problem is I just never knew when, and I just need to hit them up back again. Let the Mobvoi say, hey man, give me a heads up.
Hey.
Give me a few days. Just give me a buzz. Let me know. I'm like, okay, it would be nice. But yeah, no, this week has been interesting. Like I said, I was hoping for the video, the sponsor video that I was working on to go live. They had a couple of edits over the weekend. I fixed them, but then I'm still on the hook for waiting for them to see how that goes. So that goes out. Hopefully, I think I'll be excited to share that video as well.
Nice.
But yeah, and then we'll have our the Android Bay on Saturday. And of course, we'll circle back on Monday with the SGGQA as usual.
Pajama podcast this Monday. No news. We're just gonna hang out. It's gonna be great. I might even throw up like Tetris, and if people want to jump into I'll leave the link out so that people can just jump into online Tetris. We just might do that for 2 hours.
You always, whenever so the SGGQA always lives on this monitor. Oops, sorry. What? I don't know. Okay, so it lives on this monitor every Monday at 9 a.m. As I'm in the middle of doing daytime job stuff, I always have that monitor. And the same thing with Matt whenever he's playing Call of Duty and so on. If I can't join him, I always like to watch and make sure to support because it just makes it entertaining. You know what I mean? Like I have you in the background, I listen and I watch and so on. So it's always nice. Are we still gonna? Oh, okay. So are we gonna talk about Steam Deck shipping by end of February? So I
hope so.
Well, it says it goes on sale in February. Did you receive an updated email?
No, so here's the deal. This is what I got, and I do believe them. The first batch of pre-orders are going to start shipping the end of February. What they explained in that email they sent to people who had pre-ordered, and I got my pre-order in that night when pre-orders launched, but their servers were melting and they couldn't verify that I had an account. So, like you remember they wouldn't let anyone pre-order unless they had like a verified account that had a purchase. And you're like, I've had this Steam account since Steam launched. I'm not, because I didn't. We're pretty sure you just created this account. You need to make other purchases before. You're like, what are you doing? I need to get my Steam pre-order in. So even though my pre-order went in later that evening or it was later that evening. The email that I received said that my estimated shipping date will be the next fiscal quarter.
So Q2
So
of 2022.
they're gonna start shipping pre-orders the end of February. I'm probably not going to be able to get mine until like April,
Which is not
according to
bad. Better than at
according
least
to
I was.
them. That's kind of the time frame. So it's also just like I'm not trying to be first. I'm not trying to like like I'm not trying to game the system. I genuinely want this just to have some kind of mobile PC gaming thing. But I did want to cover it on the channel, and there's 0 point in like I'll review it 2 months after it ships. Like there's no point in putting that much work or that much effort into it. So there's a little bittersweet. I'm glad it's gonna start. I'm glad Valve is actually getting these things manufactured. I'm critically excited personally, but the professional side of like my job as a gadget reviewer is it's a little less fun now because I know the time frame is going to be so much longer for my actual experience.
Would you, if it is available to buy maybe on the 28th, let's say if you're able to pick it up on the 28th and have it, maybe shipped before your pre-order comes in, are you able to cancel your pre-order?
I don't know how that would work. If they have a unit that can be ready to go and sell it directly, why wouldn't they reach out to the people that did chip in their $5 to get a pre-order in and satisfy that demand first? And the thing is, I don't want like if the only thing they're going to have available public is the base model,
Which
do
probably
not want that.
no, not
I
EMMC. I don't even understand why they even made that option.
my pre-order is for the silly top of the line version. That's the one I want. I want the fancy glass.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. I want fancy glass. I want everything. I want all the storage. Like that's what I signed up for. And if that's not going to be, if that's not going to be available until Q2, I'll wait.
You're in the same. Yeah.
I'm going into this because this will. I am really hoping that this is going to be a PC gaming experience for me that gets people excited for Switch. I want that, and I don't want that to be compromised. So I'm going all in. So we'll have to see what they can actually turn around. If their solution is like, hey, we're going to make a bunch of these 64 gig models, you can miss me with the base model. It does not hold my interest at all.
No, I like I said, that was one of the reasons at the time where I didn't, and I really did ponder the idea, but sooner or later, I'm sure I'll be picking up one myself once hardware availability becomes a little bit better,
sure.
Which is more than likely going to be at the end of Q2, but we'll work something else between you and I maybe at some point once.
I mean, and seriously, like that was always kind of my plan too. If you didn't want to jump on either, was one of the reasons why I was excited to try and get in on the pre-order was. Take it for a spin. You could. I would be happy for you to like take it as a loaner and try it out, and knowing that
absolutely.
Your Steam library is probably as obscene as my Steam library is.
I want to try Dragon Ball Fighter Z on it and see how that runs. I don't think any flight simulators will. Microsoft is going to do that well in there, but I'd love to be able to try some of the like Mortal Kombat. I want to be able to install Doom and want to see those type of games that I feel like those are the experiences that I always feel like work great as mobile experiences. I'm not saying that Dragon Ball Fighter Z doesn't exist on the Switch.
I really want to go head to head like some of the games that I've talked about really enjoying on mobile. Like a Dead Cells.
Yep.
Having a good piece of hardware that can really jam on that game, and then seeing like how does that compare against like a phone style experience for a similar kind of title?
So I think that's where Qualcomm is trying to go down the route, right?
Big time.
So their series is their new mobile SoC with Razer is really more an elevated mobile smartphone experience on a much bigger, better cooled hardware. Temperatures are obviously they're built-in fan. Like I mean, literally, it's kind of like the Steam Deck, but more focused on elevating the mobile experience because it runs Android at its core and it will run Android apps. So that was the best part about that. So yeah, we're definitely looking forward to that. February 28th cannot come soon enough.
I'm really hoping a lot of people get out of the way for that expensive one.
Yeah.
For sure. You know what? I don't know that I really, because again, the pre-order I think was such an emotional rush. And then there's been so long. I'm hoping a bunch of people are going to be like, you know what? Nah, I'm good. and then just let their
And you
pre-order
magically
go.
move up yeah, you move up on the path
Oh,
without even knowing.
I'm
You're like,
hoping.
hey
I've had
Juan,
this
ever?
little chunk of cash just sitting aside because it was gonna be kind of like my end of the year coverage was to be talking a little bit more about PC gaming and mobile gaming, and I've been sitting on phone comparisons. I've been sitting on like game reviews. I've just been kind of hanging out because that was I wanted more information on what was going to go down, and we've just been in a holding pattern. So it's like if there's a light at the end of that tunnel, I'm gonna be happy about that. I'm still gonna be a little like, "Ugh," if it takes like an extra 6 weeks for them to ship me a model.
I'm pretty sure whenever that piece of hardware lands in your hands, you are going to be over the moon, regardless of when it shows up. But yeah, no, for that we'll hopefully. Yeah, I canceled my pre-order, hoping to pick up the successor. Yeah, it's going to be one of those
Yeah,
again.
watch them do that to us too. You know, like now that we finally shipped out the first batch of these, here's Steam Deck 2. Sucks to be you guys.
Wouldn't that be messed up if the pre-orders are not all shipped and they start
Be
talking about the
so
second gen? Steam Deck 2.0 release at the end of 2022. But I didn't even get the first one. I'm like, yeah, son, but you waited too
You
long.
got to keep
Bud.
up.
Yeah, man.
You
The
can't
game is
can't sleep on this.
it's
Gamers
it.
be gaming.
But you know what? With that being said, I think we kind of reached that level or at that point of our chat, our weekly chat. I think this week's been interesting. Not a lot of things, not a lot of news coming out, but Xiaomi did have an announcement. They did launch a few devices: the 11, the 11s, the 11 Pro, and the 11 Pro 5G. So technically, four phones in one launch event with literally the price range from 279 to 279 and covering everything. And of course, if you guys haven't had a chance to check it out, obviously, Juan Carlos or my buddy dropped off a couple of videos. One that's coming out tomorrow. There was also a short that came out yesterday on launching. I think was it the launch boot? Is it boot up or
Yeah,
camera?
no one is even trying. I have destroyed the competition. I'm basically the grand champion.
Yeah, no,
Kneel before Zod. I'm
absolutely.
amazing. Yeah, this kind of got borne out. This was like a contentious kind of conversation that I had in some comments, and I mentioned it sort of in passing on last week's podcast. Just like, I really don't think in-display fingerprint sensors are great. I think when you've got biometric security tied to something like a finger, it's better. It is just objectively better to have a tactile landmark that your hand ergonomically interacts with, which does not require your your visual attention. And I really feel
Hold
right
on.
now,
I don't know. Oh,
the
it's not
best
reading.
game, the best game in town is Xiaomi. And so I pull out. I'm wrapping up my video on the Poco F3. I've got it handy, and I put out a challenge. Without looking at the screen, how fast can you unlock your phone 10 times in a row? And I timed it. It's one continuous piece of video. It's no fancy edits or speed ramping or anything like that. And if anyone else thinks that they can rise to the challenge, I hear all these great things. Oh, the in-display fingerprint sensors are getting even better. You're like, no, I don't want a phone that requires some additional interaction to kind of get the phone ready to be unlocked. I want the phone open and ready before it has finally come up to my visual field. And I don't know if my F3 is on right now. But
Oh,
like if I just hold this at you, well obviously I've got my camera on, but my ability to just turn this on and turn it off and turn it on and turn it off is second to none with me trying to also talk on the show and not paying any attention to this. This is like again, like that to me is a practical benefit of absolute readiness, no matter what situation you might be trying to use your phone in.
oh, absolutely. No, no. And I think this is one of the things. One of the things that you appreciate when you have a fingerprint sensor and you move over to an optical or, anything that is using in display type of technology. We're not there, but it's also more about that where you're picking up the phone and by the time it's in front of you, your finger already unlocked it, or your thumb already unlocked it. Those two positions are the right positions for them. Xperia does it really well. Poco does it very nicely, and we also even saw, Kyocera has them in there.
Yeah.
TCL still using the same tech on that one, which I really like. I
Z
think they're good.
Fold, better than any of the Galaxy S21s. It's just you have to spend twice as much. So, but it's better.
Money? What's money between friends?
What's money for a fraction of a second faster unlock?
Hey man,
who could quantify that in dollar bills?
I can. Yeah, I'm sure somebody at Samsung is doing the numbers but it's much better.
But again, I put out a short, I put it together, and I've had a couple people comment like, "Oh, I got into the 20s on my phone," and you're like, "Cool," but I haven't seen anyone else actually like video their run. So I can only take it to mean that my ability paired with the obvious advantage of the Xiaomi power button fingerprint sensor has come together to create an indomitable force in this challenge. Right out of the gate on my very first try, I've basically created a world record, and no one can topple.
It is also a fingerprint power sensor, fingerprint sensor. I feel like this may actually do. Well, I'm doing it wrong here, but this one actually is pretty fast.
Well, TK, if you want to shoot like a little snippet of video, maybe throw it up on the Instagram or something like that. See if you can take me down.
Put it real. Okay, yeah. I have. Let's say this. I have a decent selection of devices that I can actually put a good competition there. I have quite a few that have in fingerprint display. I just realized it on this table. 4 phones with the power button and the Find N, the Redmi, the Xperia 1 Mark III. You know what I mean? Like even some of the other Xperias that I have, they're all fingerprint power sensors, and Sony's been doing really good. So let me see if I can find one that can definitely, beat that number and get it on camera.
Practice, train.
Absolutely, yeah. I failed massively. Like right there, I'm trying to do this. See, like right there, huh?
My run is formidable. What I actually caught on video, and that was my second try. So I did two takes, and I think the first take I only got 9 activations. Like I think it was like number 7 or number 8. Yeah. I clicked and I double clicked on the screen, and it didn't really unlock.
You turned off, turn off. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I think it's also I think I should be using my top-down camera better. I'll have a better handle on it. But let me see what I can do. I'll maybe push that out this weekend. It'd be nice. I'll be like, this is my response to Juan Carlos' challenge.
Let's see. I'm just saying right now, indomitable, unbeatable. No one's even bothered. No one has risen to the challenge to even try. That's how devastating my performance was on this video.
Well, you know what? It'll be the same on the SGGQA, or at least on the subreddit, the glowing rectangles, as usual, as you dominate for the last few weeks. I love that. But with that being said, I do want to say, if you guys are new, you haven't seen us, haven't checked us out before, would love it if you guys hit the like and subscribe, or smash that bell icon so you always know whenever our show. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We like to chat. We always love to have fun. And of course, there's going to be the audio version of this podcast that will be coming up hopefully tomorrow, sometime during the day.
Should be out tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, check us out. There's contacts in the the description as far as getting in touch with Juan Carlos or myself. And everybody with us here on the chat, thank you very much for hanging out with us. Chris, Rinesh, Dual Xenos, Infopinion joined us as well. I know Aditya was with us. Gabrieleta. I'm saying that better. And of course, Michael Corrigan was in there as well. Rolando hanging out with us as well. And Greg earlier in the evening with us as well. So, and of course, Andrew, Fat Produce. Come on.
Yeah,
how do I forget?
Andrew was in there. We had Barry in there. We had Tech Love Mama in there.
Absolutely.
This is like full on romper room. We had a really good crew in.
It was a good chat. Week. It was definitely, although my ability of recalling, IKEA furniture in movies was not working.
Don't dig back in. We're almost out. We're almost ending it.
We'll there. So be safe, stay safe. Catch us up again next week for another episode of the Best of Our Week. Take care, everybody.
Bam.